Chicago Cubs. Pitching for the Cubs tonight, Ray Fontenot, who is 6-8 with a 3.75 ERA, and going for the Mets, Sid Fernandez, 6-9 with a 2.74 ERA.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriski, all set for the final game between the Mets and Cubs here at Shea Stadium this year. Mets have won the first 8, so they have a chance to win all 9 with the Cubs this year. Last year at Wrigley Field, they won only 1 of the 9 games played there. And the standings, of course, are the same as yesterday. With the Mets winning yesterday, the Cardinals also won to extend their winning streak to 7 consecutive ball games, and they lead the Mets by 2.
And only 17 games left remaining, and this is the time of the season when liquids go down as solids. That's what they feel like. When you're eating in the afternoon, you can't swallow right, you can't sleep right at night, and generally speaking, it's a very apprehensive feeling. The ball players want to get to the park and play baseball. The waiting kills them.
And let's take a look at the rest of the 17 ball games. The Mets have 1 more, and that's here with the Chicago Cubs. Then they have 3 in Pittsburgh, and they have also 3 with Montreal, 2 with Philadelphia, 2 with the Cubs at Wrigley Field, and then 3 with Pittsburgh, and then the St. Louis Cardinals, and they have 3 there. And if the Cardinals win 10 of their last 17 ball games, they will have won 100 games for the year. So it looks like it's going to take a team that has more victories than 100 to win it.
Well, the St. Louis Cardinals really have an advantage as far as their home and away. If you'll notice, they only have 4 games left away. 3 of those games up in Montreal, and the Montreal Expos with 3 games against the Cardinals. So the New York Mets playing the Cardinals the next to the last series with 3 games. It could end up to a head-to-head showdown. Right now, really nobody knows. But as far as the schedule is concerned and the standings right now, obviously the Cardinals have the advantage.
And the old cliche, we'll play them one at a time. And right now, let's go to this message from Michelob Light. This final game with the Cubs at Shea Stadium. Mets have won 8 of the ball games played here. Of the 8 games played, they have won them all. And overall, they have a record of 12 wins in the 15 games that the Mets and Cubs have played. Now from Shea Stadium, our national anthem sung tonight by recording artist Robert Pilon.
Artist Mr. Robert Pilon will sing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right. Boy, that was beautiful, wasn't
Robert Pilon singing our national anthem. A fine job here and appreciated by this good crowd. Mets are on their way to having the all-time attendance record for New York City. They hold that record from 1970, but they will probably break it this year. The umpires for this game, John Kibler behind home plate, Dick Stella, the umpire at first base, Bruce Fremming, the umpire at second base, and Bob Davidson will be at third. Mets have a team batting average of 255 with 119 home runs. They have 107 stolen bases. The Cubs, with a team batting average of 251, 127 home runs. They lead the National League in home runs, and they have 158 stolen bases.
Ralph, when you're in a pennant race like the Mets are and the Cubs aren't here in September, some of the quietest moments that you spend are at the ballpark. The ones away from the ballpark are sometimes your most tense. Keith Hernandez looks very relaxed right there, and that's really what happens. They want to play the game. It's like a racehorse that's raring to get out of the starting gate. The running's the easy part. It's the waiting that hurts them. No waiting anymore tonight, huh?
The best part is to get away from all the people that come up to you and say you're going to win tonight.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
And those telephone calls for tickets to the ballpark. So the Mets have taken the field. They'll have Sid Fernandez on the mound. Sid has a record of 6 wins and 9 losses, an earned run average of 2.74. He's walked 69, struck out 152, given up 94 hits in 141 innings. He has a lifetime record against the Cubs of 1 win and 1 loss.
And the lineup for the New York Mets: Bob Dernier leading it off and playing center. Gary Matthews in the lineup tonight playing left field. Last year's MVP in the National League, Ryne Sandberg, playing second and batting third. Right fielder Keith Moreland, second on the Cubs in hitting with a .298 average behind Sandberg's .310. Keith will be batting cleanup tonight. Ron Cey has moved into the 5th position and, of course, will play third base. Leon the Bull Durham, who batted 5th last night, will flip-flop with Cey and bat 6th tonight. Jody Davis behind the plate and batting 7th. Sean Dunston, Brooklyn product, #1 draft choice in the country back in '81, will bat 8th. And the pitcher Ray Fontenot, formerly the property of the New York Yankees.
So Sid Fernandez, who has won 1 and lost none to the Cubs this year, will be backed by Hernandez, Backman, Santana, and Knight in the infield, 1st to 3rd. Foster, Wilson, and Strawberry left to right in the outfield. And the catching will be by Gary Carter. And they have an L. Sid K. Rumba corner.
Caramba!
Caramba.
All right.
Well, Sid, I'll tell you, does a good job with strikeouts. He's averaged more strikeouts per game than Dwight Gooden. He's #1 in Major League Ball, averaging 9.68 strikeouts per 9 innings.
He's K-Rumba'd pretty well through the National League this year.
He also leads the Major Leagues in hits allowed per 9 innings at 5.99. Second to him, again, Dwight Gooden with a 6.36 hits allowed ratio for 9 innings. So Sid Fernandez with a record of 6-9 in this important game for the New York Mets, and he'll be facing Bob Dernier as the leadoff batter. Dernier hitting .252. He has 1 home run, 19 RBIs. Last year he hit .278 with 3 home runs. Dernier 0 for 4 in last night's ball game against the combined pitching of Rick Aguilera, the winner, and Roger McDowell, who picked up a save. And the fastball by Sid Fernandez, ball 1.
You will never see or feel a more ideal night for baseball. Beautiful.
And again, the fastball right in there, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. For what it's worth, the Mets have out-hit the Cubs 276 to 232. They've outscored the Cubs 62 to 37. They've out-homered the Cubs 16 to 10 in their competitive records this year. Mets have driven in 58 runs, the Cubs only 31, and the Mets have only lost 1 department, and that's in stolen bases. The Cubs have stolen 9 bases to the Mets 5. So that is the dominance of the Mets over the Cubs this year, just the reverse of last year when the Cubs dominated the New York Mets. The 1-2 pitch, and it's fouled off out of play. Gary Matthews in the on-deck circle, along with Ryne Sandberg. Bob Dernier, the center fielder, hitting .238 against the Mets this year with 5 hits, no home runs, 1 RBI. And the curveball, it's adios, and the Caramba Club is off and running.
K. Rumba. Strikeout number 153. Bob Dernier taking it all the way after so many fastballs. He gets Uncle Charlie. Strikeout number 153, and it used to be a bad omen to strike out the first hitter in the ballgame. I don't know whoever came up with that stuff. They're leaving. What's going on?
They only had one strikeout. Now the batter is Gary Matthews. He takes the first pitch for ball one. Matthews hitting .222 for the year. 10 home runs, 32 RBIs. And the fastball for ball two. Matthews also in a turnaround year after a fine year last year. Plagued by injuries this year, as was Bob Dernier, and the fastball fouled away.
You'll see a lot of fastballs fouled away off Sid Fernandez. Get a lot of action up here in the booth with balls bouncing all over the place up here, and a lot of foul balls back the other way from both right-handed hitters and left-handed hitters.
2-1 the count. And the fastball fouled back again. Last season, Gary Matthews hit .291, had 14 home runs and 82 runs batted in. He led the National League in game-winning RBIs with 19. He also tied for the best on-base percentage at .410 with Tony Gwynn, and the fastball is high. That fills it out to 3-2. Sid Fernandez, product of the Dodger organization. 3-2 pitch, and he fouls it off, and the foul balls start to mount up. In yesterday's ball game, Rick Aguilera threw so many strikes that were fouled off that they had to take him out of the ball game early. He got to his high quota. Left the ball game leading by a score of 3-2, and so was the winning pitcher. Walk. So Fernandez walks Gary Matthews, and the Cubs have a runner on with one out, and Ryan Sandberg the batter.
Gary Matthews led the National League in walks last year also. He has got a good eye at the plate, will not swing at a ball.
Most valuable player last year. Last year he hit .314. This year he's hitting .310. Last year he had 200 hits. This year he has 170. Last year he scored 114 runs. This year he scored 98. Throw to first base, Matthews back. Last year Sandberg had 19 home runs. This year he has 23. Last year he had 32 stolen bases. This year he has 49. So he has had the same type of year he had last year, but he will not be in contention for MVP because it usually goes to a ball player on the winning club. One ball, no strikes. And the runner going with a pitch, but the ball fouled off, and it's 1-1.
I guess you got to question that a little bit. Hitting and running against a guy that you really don't make a lot of contact against. Nothing at Sandberg, of course. He can make contact on anybody, but Fernandez throws that high rider. There is home runs. You see that home run production? Really up since 1982. No score, Cardinals at Philadelphia.
You can give credit to Jim Fry. Fry says, you've got some home run power. Let's start to pull the ball, to hit the ball out of the ballpark to left center field. He had been really one of those Charlie Lau type hitters, just trying to get little stunky singles to right field.
Okay, George Brett's a Charlie Lau hitter.
Well, he hits it out of the park. He was just around when Charlie Lau said to him, hey, you look pretty good up there. Don't change a thing.
Well, George gives Charlie Lau a lot of credit, though. So does Hal McRae. A number of those. Carlton Fisk, who is leading the American League in home runs this year, gives Lau credit.
There's some good theories that he has. There's no doubt about it. I think there's a lot of misinterpretation to his theories of how to hit them.
That's well put. He doesn't exactly mean that you ought to become a punching Judy. That's not his point.
And the breaking ball, not a strike, so it goes to 3-1. And Sid Fernandez in a little bit of a jam now, working to the dangerous Ryan Sandberg with a 3-1 count, and Gary Matthews at first base.
Of course, guys mature also. They get stronger with age. At 21, you're not nearly as strong as you are when you're 25 years old. Sandberg just turning 26 yesterday, as a matter of fact. Entering his peak period for athletic prowess, one would think.
3-1. The runner doesn't go, and the pitch is swung on and missed, and it goes to 3-2. Speaking of birthdays for the New York Mets, Randy Myers, 23 today.
All right.
And Robert Murphy, who started broadcasting the Mets games in 1962, has a birthday here today. Three and two. See if the runner goes. I would say yes. Runner does go, and the pitch is ball 4, so on 2 walks, the Cubs have runners at first and second, both walks coming on 3-2 pitches.
Well, both walks up and away, and that's where Fernandez will be wild when he is wild, is up and away to right-handed hitters. He just somehow cannot open up enough to get that ball inside, and a catcher will try to move inside to a right-handed hitter to try to get him down more into the center of the plate.
And the batter will be Keith Moreland, the club leader in RBIs with 88, hitting .298 with 11 home runs. Moreland brings a 7-game hitting streak into the game, hitting .360 over those 7 games. And there's a fastball for a strike.
And that was in a good spot. You saw Carter on the inside part of the plate, too. Just pitch right there. Of course, he's right down the middle. Now, that's what happens. You try to overcompensate, and that's really what you have to do. It's a constant adjusting you do on the mound, just like at the plate.
He tries the curveball and hangs it way out there, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Sid having problems here in the first inning. Matthews, the runner at second base. Sandberg, the runner at first, 1 away. And a 1-1 count on Keith Moreland. Two balls and a strike.
Up and away. You can almost close your eyes and tell when a ball is thrown by Sid Fernandez, it's going to be up and away, and you got a dangerous situation right here. Moreland will try to pull you when he's ahead in the count. He has 11 home runs.
Matthews dancing around at second base, so Sid breaking contact with the pitching rubber. Time is called. 2-1 the count. And the fastball fouled back out of play. So the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Moreland, a very good 2-strike hitter, hitting .327 this year against the Mets with 18 base hits. 2 of them have been home runs. And Sid Fernandez, working with runners at first and second, has had 2 strikes in his first 4 batters in this game. And again, it's fouled off. Now Carter out to talk to Sid, whose homeland is in Hawaii, the 50th state.
Carter may have been changing a sign there. Larry Boa's comments in the New York Post the other day. You see the Cardinals and Phillies no score in the second. Boa said the Cubs stole the signs off Mike Fitzgerald last year with runners at second base. Matthews looks rather intent looking in there, doesn't he?
He does. Drive to right field, Strawberry right there. Matthews tags up at second, but he will stay at second base against Strawberry's arm. So now 2 away, and it'll be Ron Shea. Shea hitting .234 with 19 home runs, 51 runs batted in. Batting .239 against the Mets this year with 11 hits and no runs batted in in the games that the Mets have played against the Cubs. No RBIs in 15 ball games against the Mets. Chance to pick up 1, maybe 2, maybe 3.
See, Sid wants Carter to go over the signs again, and they are using a different sign. I'll guarantee that.
And the fastball for ball 1. They appealed to the first base umpire, Dick Stello, and he said no swing. So the count 1 ball, no strikes. Shea with 296 career home runs. Matthews at second. Matthews staring intently in at those signs. Ground ball in the hole. Santana gets a nice hop, flips it to Backman, and they get out of it. No runs, no hits, 2 walks, and 2 men left on base, and the score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Cubs nothing. The Mets coming up. Now here's a word from Nissan. Mound for the Chicago Cubs. He has a record of 6 wins and 8 losses, an earned run average of 3.75. He's walked 41, struck out 65, given up 155 hits and 146 innings of work. Ray Fontenot has a lifetime record of 1-3 against the Mets.
And the lineup for the Mets, Mookie Wilson leading it off, followed by second baseman Wally Backman. Keith Hernandez, the first baseman, hitting third. Gary Carter in the 4-hole and catching, of course. Darryl Strawberry with his 24th home run of the year last night, batting 5th. Left fielder George Foster hitting 6th. And Ray Knight at third. Ray with a big bases-loaded double in last night's game. Santana, Rafael Santana, batting 8th, and pitcher Sid Fernandez, so battle you at the plate, batting 9th.
So Ray Fontenot, last year with the Yankees with a record of 8-9, will be helped out by Durham, Sandberg, Dunston, and Shea in the infield. First to third, Matthews, Denier, and Moreland left to right in the outfield, and Jody Davis the catcher. Mookie Wilson the lead off. Mookie hitting 284, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1. 5 home runs, 21 stolen bases. And Mookie, coming off the disabled list, has been a hot batter. 2 home runs and a .415 batting average in the 10 games that he has played since coming off the DL. 2-0 the count. Fontenot, the type of pitcher that throws up a lot of ground balls. Sinker ball pitcher, and there's the breaking ball. It's 3-0.
Well, to illustrate your point, he leads the Cubs in enticing the opposition to ground into the most double plays. He has thrown 20 ground ball double play balls this year.
And he walks Mookie on 4 pitches.
Mookie led off last night's game with a walk.
He says he learned a little bit about leadoff batting from Len Dykstra, whom he had to watch when he was on the DL.
That's really an interesting comment, and it really shows how totally honest Mookie Wilson is, isn't he?
And here's Wally Backman. He's hitting 274 with 1 home run and 34 RBIs, and the unusual thing, for the first time in the major leagues, he is batting left-handed as a starting player against the left-hand pitcher. He has given up the switch hitting.
For now.
Temporarily. Well, we'll see how it works. He is asked to be able to hit from the left-hand side of the plate.
Well, batting only 148 from the right side this year. Why not?
He was up left-handed in yesterday's ball game in a bunting situation. Close play at first base, and he sacrificed successfully bunting left-handed against Steve Trout, a left-hand pitcher.
Fontenot had Mookie leaning the wrong way. Almost had him at first base.
And he has an idea about bunting.
That ball would have hit him. That ball would have hit him had it not hit the bat. He kind of squared around on that. And that's the one thing you got to remember. Watch this. This ball would have hit him, but it hits the bat. It may not have hit him, but it certainly would have been close. The one thing you got to do if you're going to switch around to the left side, you got to have a long talk with your rear end.
Yeah, your mind might be willing, but your body is weak.
That's right.
And now the pitch, and it's bunted to the left side. A good bunt. Ron Say to first base for the play as Durham takes the throw and Mookie sacrificed down to second. I'm not too sure that's a good play. First inning, it's a Gene Mauch play. He does it all the time, bunting in the first inning.
Well, of course, you got Backman switching around to the left side. If you don't have confidence in Backman's new experiment, the right play is to bunt. But why have a new experiment? I don't know about that play either. You don't ordinarily see it. But under the circumstances, it might be the right play with Backman only a second at-bat left-handed against a left-handed pitcher.
We could take that discussion somewhere to a local pub and discuss it for quite some time.
For about 2 days, right?
Now it's Keith Hernandez who hits left-handed from the start. Keith hitting at 291 and a runner in scoring position, and that's ball one. Keith with 10 home runs, 81 RBIs, 2 for 4 in last night's ball game, but hitting only .222 against Cub pitching this year.
Kind of kidding about that rear end of Wally Backman's, but you really have to keep that front shoulder in there and try not to bail out. Remember, Wally Backman's never bailed out before. You don't bail out as a switch hitter.
Keith takes low, and it's 2 balls and no strikes.
This guy doesn't bail out, I'll tell you that.
There have been numerous experiences of players trying to learn how to switch hit. Bob Denier tried it with the Philadelphia Phillies and never could find out how to hit left-handed, so he went back to hitting right-handed all the way. He takes a strike on the inside corner fastball. It's 2-1. Hernandez with 7 runs batted in against the Cubs, and you're looking at Jim Fry pacing there, the manager of the year last year for the Cubs. Second baseman Sandberg over to the bag, so Fontenot breaks contact with the pitching rubber, and time is called. Two and one, the count to Keith Hernandez. 1 man out, bottom of the first, no score, and there's a hard smash that's right at Dunston, and that'll be a double play. No chance for Mookie to get back, and the double play ends the inning. No runs, no hits, and no one left on base, and the score at the end of 1. The Cubs nothing, the Mets nothing. Now, here's a word. Commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WOR-TV is prohibited. Top of the second, both sides with a runner in scoring position and neither side scoring. And now the Cubs batting for the second time with Leon Durham to lead off. Durham hitting at .282 for the year, 18 home runs, 60 RBIs, and a fastball by Fernandez a strike. Durham 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. Overall, he's hitting .302 against the Mets this year with 13 hits, one of them a home run. And the fastball fouled away. So Fernandez getting to a strike 2 count in a hurry here in the second after walking 2 batters in the first. The 2-strike pitch. Curveball hit hard, but right at Backman, it almost knocks him down.
Boy, you talk about a tracer. You ever try to catch a 30-06? What comes out of it? It's what it's like. Man, that ball gives you an idea of the velocity on those line drives. Of course, Backman a little off balance when he caught it, but that ball hit with tenacity nonetheless.
And Backman having some tenacity making the catch. So 1 away, and it brings up Jody Davis. Davis hitting .226 for the year with 14 home runs and 50 RBI. 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. And the curveball a strike. Davis sidelined during the season because of a stomach disorder. He's had a ulcer operation. One time the property of the Mets, also the St. Louis Cardinals. Again, this one out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Davis hit .256 last year with 19 home runs and 94 runs batted in. And the curve again, and it's in the strike zone, so the count 1-2. Sid Fernandez with a lifetime record in the major leagues at 12-16. He lost his first game in the major leagues while a Dodger. So with the Mets, he is 12-15. Again, the breaking ball, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, in Philadelphia, Tom Nieto has singled in Jack Clark to right field. Jack Clark scoring. The throw by Glenn Wilson is to third base as Clark was on first. So the Cardinals are up on the Phillies 1-0 game in the bottom of the second.
Mets trailing the Cardinals by 2 games, and here no score as Jody Davis fouls off a fastball. 2-2 the count.
Well, the Cardinals are getting help from every department, aren't they? Tom Nieto, the backup catcher, has done a fine job for the Cardinals this year, playing against the left-hander David Rucker, who is a late replacement for Steve Carlton.
Carlton through for the year. Curveball. It's hit hard down the left field line, but it's a foul ball. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That was a great example by Davis of striding and then having the bat back and having all his power left with which to hit the ball, and he hit it well but foul.
1 man out, top of the second inning, no score, and a 2-2 pitch. It's 3-2. Fernandez has had a 2-strike count on every batter he has faced, with the exception of Ron Cey. He has struck out 1, he has walked 2, and now with a 3-2 count to Jody Davis. And he gets a strikeout on the 3-2 pitch. Got him with a fastball.
Well, Sid Fernandez, he falls behind a lot, but he can flat blow. It's tough to pick up that fastball. Caramba has moved around. Where are they sitting now? I think they're right over the dugout, but up in the upper deck. Right over the dugout, about 150 feet, I think.
Second strikeout for Sid, and he'll now be working to Sean Dunston. Dunston, the #1 draft choice in the nation. The year that Dwight Gooden was selected #5. Dunston hit .790 at Thomas Jefferson High School in Brooklyn his senior year.
And because of that, the Mets probably would have drafted Dunston had they had the first-round choice. There's a story behind that, but they ended up with Dwight Gooden. Second best, huh?
Well, you can't be first all the time.
Can't win them all, right?
Dunston, of course, a great prospect for the Chicago Cubs.
Actually, Dwight was 5th best that year, right? Mm-hmm. He was the 5th player selected in the 1981 draft.
And again, the curveball, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Dunston, the highest draft choice ever out of the New York area. Lee Mazzulli had been the highest draft choice ever out of the New York area when he was selected by the Mets as the number 14th selection. Dunston got a base hit his first time playing in his hometown area. Doubled a broken bat, blue pit over first. His first at bat here at Shea Stadium. 1 for 2 yesterday, and the pitch is a fastball. No contact. It's 2-2.
That's a born right near here. I'm going to hit a 5-run home run type swing on that one.
He answers to the nickname Thunder Pop.
Thunder Pop, yep.
And there's no thunder there, as the pop was in the catcher's glove, and 2 strikeouts in the inning, and a 1-2-3 inning for Sid Fernandez. The score after 1.5. The Cubs nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Express Mail. A behind-the-scenes look at a rock group that changed the world. It's a Channel 9 special presentation of the Complete Beatles, Saturday night at 8. And coming in now for the play-by-play, a man who has experienced over the years many thrilling pennant chases, Tim McCarver.
Yeah, it's great to be a part of them, watching them or being involved in them, Ralph. Before we start the bottom of the second, a get well message to Steve Mescal, who's scheduled for open heart surgery at Montefiore Hospital. Steve, we hope you're well by the playoffs, and the Mets hope they're in by the playoffs. Gary Carter leading off the second. And a fastball for a strike. Gary batting .286, 28 home runs. He leads the Mets in home runs and RBIs. He's 85 ribbies on the season. No score, bottom of 2. Meanwhile, the Cardinals over the Phillies 1-0. We will try to keep you updated throughout the course of this game on the action at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Slider misses, 1-1. Carter with 11 home runs in his last 18 games, 23 RBIs over that period. He has really been swinging well.
Ball well hit, left center field. This ball is out of here. Gary Carter puts the Mets on top with a tremendous home run to left center field. Gary Carter. Man, did he hit that ball.
This ball goes all the way over the bleacher area, at least 450 feet, as the fans in the bleachers turn around to watch it land. Carter with his 29th home run of the year, his 12th home run in his last 24 ball games. He has averaged 1 home run every 2 games over that period.
And a strike to Strawberry. Darryl also with a tremendous home run in last night's ball game off of Warren Brewstar, and he takes a slider low. That first pitch, by the way, was a ball, so it's 2-0 to Strawberry.
That was the 18th home run given up by Fontenot this year.
Slider is low. Now he got it right. The first pitch was a strike, so it's 2-1 to Darryl. 1-0. Mets on top. Gary Carter's 29th home run of the year. This ball well hit. Way back. Out of here, center field. Oh, my goodness. 2 tremendous blasts by Carter, and Strawberry have put the Mets up 2-0. Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Well, Jim Fry, looking on as Strawberry gets congratulated for another home run, his 25th. That's his 9th home run in his last 30 ball games. And it was Jim Fry who used to work with Darryl Strawberry when he was the batting coach of the New York Mets. He is not enjoying the fruits of his work. Boy, you talk about a blast. That ball went over the Big Apple.
The apple couldn't come up.
Look at this. Now, this is where the Big Apple is. You see it out there. It indicates a home run, and that ball scared that machine to death. It never did operate.
Ground ball, base hit by Foster. So George Foster's on there. Oh, my goodness. 2 tremendous home runs. You put those 2 back to back and hop on, that'd take you to Palm Springs this winter. First-class transportation.
Cross country.
Man. Probably the longest home run that Carter and Foster, or Strawberry, have hit all season long. And I'm telling you, Strawberry's hit a ton of them. So no doubt about it. Well, here's Ray Knight, one of the heroes in last night's game. He had 2 RBIs on a bases-loaded double in the 4th. Ray batting only .207. Toss those stats out the window at this time of year. Fastball misses.
Incidentally, Foster with that single has now been on base 5 consecutive times. He was 3 for 3 last night with a walk, and now a base hit to lead off here in the second.
That was Strawberry's 5th home run against the Cubs this year, and home run number 6 for Carter. 2-0 tonight.
Strawberry got 3 of his 5 home runs in 1 ball game against the Cubs at Wrigley Field.
Went 4 for 4 that day, and the last one he hit was a scorcher to right that he just didn't get up. Top of the hat. That home run by Darryl Strawberry went in the top of the hat where the Big Apple rises. This ball pretty well hit, but it's going to be playable. Gary Matthews, playing very deep, comes in a ways and makes the catch. So 1 out here in the second, and the batter Rafael Santana. I guess you could say that was a hat trick for Strawberry.
First time any ball's been hit into that mechanism.
It's no easy chore. It's about 425 feet from home plate. And that was not a fly ball either, Ralph.
There's the drive right here, and it's a hole-in-one. Used 2-iron on that shot.
Fastball outside to Santana. Rafi batting .258 with a home run and 24 RBI. Home run number 10 off left-handers for Darryl Strawberry. So of his 25 home runs, he has hit 10 off left-handed pitching.
The Mets, for the 4th time, have hit back-to-back home runs, and it's the 2nd time that Carter and Strawberry have done it this year.
Some tandem.
Santana singles to right center. Foster may try to go to third. Good base running by George Foster. The Mets have runners at first and third and only 1 out, and the batter Sid Fernandez.
Oh, Santana hits it off the end of the bat, a flare into center field. Ball not hit hard enough for Denier to have a play at third as Foster goes on to third. Denier so in towards second base, and Santana holding at first. So the Mets now with runners at first and third as action starts up in the bullpen for the Cubs. Derek Botello.
Derek Botello is the pitcher that Strawberry hit 2 of the homers off of at Wrigley Field. Then he greeted him here at Shea on his next start with a home run. Billy Connors, the pitching coach, out to talk to Ray Fontenot.
Billy, a former Met, also worked for the Mets as a pitching coach and now working for the Chicago Cubs.
Well, Mr. Kiner, I would like to thank you for telling Jim Flaherty, Mike Nemeth, and Tom Dolan from Grand Union County in Glen Ridge, New Jersey, that I was out of dental floss. They sent up a family-sized container of dental floss, 100 yards of dental floss, pal. This will last through 1995.
A lifetime.
All right. So the Mets have runners at first and third with 1 out. 2-0. New York leads. Mookie Wilson on deck.
Well, the Cubs are looking for the suicide squeeze right here. It's a play that Jim Fry uses a lot.
Fastball is low. Infield in double play depth. Say in at third, about a foot on the infield grass. They're going to squeeze. This is a good time to do it. Fernandez ahead in the count. Foster's not breaking, and the fastball is low. 2-0. If you're the runner at third base, you cannot break too soon. That used to be our word sign from the coach at third base. Don't break too soon, and that meant the squeeze was on. Swing and a miss. 2-1 to Fernandez. When you break too soon, that alerts the pitcher and the catcher, and then they can either pitch out or throw at the batter, depending on which they prefer and which philosophy you follow. Foster at third base, 2-1 to Fernandez, 1 out. And Fernandez fouls it back. So it's 2-2 to Sid Fernandez.
Sid with 9 base hits this year, and he's driven in 1 run. Take a look at Mookie Wilson, the on-deck batter.
2 tremendous home runs by Gary Carter and Darryl Strawberry have put the Mets on top. Grounder toward first, but foul. So we'll do it again. The passion and tension of the pennant race. 17 games left to play for the Mets, including tonight's game. They entered the game 2 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals. Swing and a miss. Got him on strikes. The first strikeout for Fontenot. And with 2 out, the batter will be Mookie Wilson.
This is a bad pitcher's pitch right here. The ball is up, but Sid can't make contact. Easy pitch to hit in the air to the outfield. But he gets away with it, and now it'll be up to Mookie Wilson.
Mookie walked his first time up and has been red hot. Of the 10 games in which he has played since September 1st, he has had 3 hits in 4 of those games. High chopper foul down third. 0-1 to Mookie Wilson.
Detroit leading the Yankees by 4-0 in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Runners at first and third, 2 out. Bottom of the 2nd inning, 2-0 New York. There's Foster and Santana. Grounder toward short. Dunston will have to hurry. Can't make the play. Foster scores. 3-0 New York.
Well, Dunston makes a fine play out of this as he gets to the ball. It's by Shea. Tries to get the throw off the first, but no chance to pick up Mookie Wilson. Durham comes off the bag to make the catch, and on the play, Foster scores from third. So the Mets leading 3-0 as Mookie gets an RBI and also a base hit. And for Mookie, that is his 22nd RBI of the year, and it brings up Wally Backman.
Sean Dunston, if he had a play then, had it at second base. Went to first. No way to get Mookie Wilson. 3-0 New York, and the fastball for a strike. 0-1. Wally sacrificed his first time up. A slider is fouled away. 0-2 to Wally Backman.
Wally in his first swinging position, batting left-handed against a left-handed pitcher. He has faced 2 left-handers in bunt situations and has bunted successfully.
Ray Fontenot on the mound. Ray is 1-3 against the Mets this year. Slider fouled away again.
You saw that Yankees score Detroit 6. The Yankees nothing. Detroit still batting in the bottom of the 2nd. And the Yankees started their action 5 games back of Toronto. Toronto not playing tonight. Joe Niekro making his debut for the Yankees. Tanana going for the Tigers. Tanana with a record of 8-14.
Joe Niekro, the last American League team with which he pitched was the Detroit Tigers back in 1975. Not a good return to the American League for Joe Niekro. Fastball inside, 1-2 to Wally Backman. Runners at first and second, 2 out, 3-0. Mets lead it. Cubs have not beaten the Mets all season at Shea. The Mets 8-0 against Chicago. And a swing and a miss by Backman. However, the Mets send 8 players to the plate. And they score 3 runs on 5 hits, and they strand 2. After 2, it's 3-0, New York. Now here's a word from Ivory. In Philadelphia, the Phillies 2-1 over the Cardinals.
So the Phillies coming back after falling behind 1-0 and leading 2-1. The Mets are leading 3-0 here, and Sid Fernandez to work in the top of the 3rd.
And the batter will be Ray Fontenot. Fontenot with 2 hits and 34 trips to the plate, batting .051 on the year. Ray gave up 3 runs, 3 earned runs in the bottom of the 2nd. The Mets up 3-0. And the first pitch is outside from Sid Fernandez. Sid has struck out 3 and walked 2 in 2 innings. And it's 2-0 to Fontenot. Two and 1.
Tough assignment for Fontenot batting here in this spot. A little surprised he's hitting with the Cubs behind 3-0.
Well, it's only the 3rd inning, I guess.
Cubs got a bevy, or whatever you want to call it, of pitchers.
Carrying 18 pitchers. Team normally, if they carry 11, it's strange. But with the expanded roster here in September, as Fontenot questioned home plate umpire John Kibler's call, it's 3-2 to Fontenot. In September, as we've explained before, you can expand your roster to 40 players. Strike 3 struck him out. 4th strikeout for Fernandez, and 3 in a row.
Cubs had their pitchers working out of the outfield. It looked like a football camp. They were doing exercises in right field. They had right field covered.
Bob Dernier struck out his first time up. He was called out on a 2-2 curveball. And there's a curveball again, but it's outside. 1-0 to Bob Dernier, batting .252. Oh, that's sweet, huh? Right. He's concerned about the pennant race. Concerned about where his next meal's coming from. 1-1 to Dernier. Cardinals have won 7 in a row. As we mentioned earlier, gosh, they haven't been behind in the last week, it doesn't seem like. Not that often, at least. And Dernier fouls it back. So it's 1-2 to Bob Dernier, obtained from the Philadelphia Phillies along with Gary Matthews. Bill Campbell, the pitcher who's now with the Cardinals, went to the Phillies last year. And Campbell went over to the Cardinals earlier in the year for David Rucker, the starting pitcher for Philadelphia tonight. Ground ball to short. Santana, an easy play, 2 out.
There you see the pennant races. The Cardinals leading the Mets by 2. The Expos by 13. They're out of it. Dodgers leading the Reds by 6.5. The Astros by 10, and the Astros are out of it. In the American League, the Blue Jays over the Yankees by 5, the Orioles by 12.5, and the Royals had their lead cut to 1, with the Royals losing and the Angels winning yesterday.
Gary Matthews fouls it away, so it's 0-1 to Matthews. Gary has 10 home runs this year, but his average has really suffered with all the injuries he's had.
Ball well hit to left field, way back. It is out of here. 3-1 ball game.
He got all of that one. All 3 home runs in this ball game have certainly been well hit, and that's an understatement.
For Gary Matthews, his second home run against the Mets this year. That is his 11th of the season, and the Cubs get on the scoreboard. Here it is again. He winds up that bat, takes his fastball right over the left center field fence into the bleacher area, and the Cubs now trailing by 2 on the home run by Matthews.
Ryan Sandberg, the batter, he walked his first time up. And Fernandez takes something off the fastball. That's an unusual pitch that we're not used to seeing from Sid. And Sandberg flies to Wilson, but the Cubs are on the board with a home run by Matthews. And after 2.5, it's 3-1, New York. We'll go to the middle of the third after this word from Burger King. Here in the third, Keith lined into a double play off Fontenot his first time up.
Base hit right field.
So Hernandez greets Fontenot with the first pitch here in the third to lead off with a base hit.
Keith wasting no time. Takes his fastball in the right field for a base hit. Mets pick up their 6th hit and have their lead batter on for Gary Carter.
Carter with a tremendous home run, his 29th of the year, his 12th in his last 19 ball games. 24 RBIs over that period. And it's 1-0 to Gary Carter. Try to fit in a Mets trivia question after Gary hits. All sorts of things happening in Philadelphia.
Phillies 3, the Cardinals 1, bottom of the third.
And we understand the Phillies still hitting, huh, Ralph?
Still hitting. They had the bases loaded. Nobody out. They took out the starting pitcher in that ball game, Keogh.
Matt Keogh, formerly with the Oakland A's, surprise starter. The Phillies had David Rucker starting. It was a late scratch. Was Steve Carlton, who will pitch no more baseball in the 1985 season. 1-0 to Gary Carter. Derek Botello continues to warm for the Cubs. 2-0 to Carter. 3-1. New York leads, looking for more. When you're hitting like Carter, Ralph, that ball looks like the size of a watermelon, doesn't it?
What a great feeling.
Grounds this one towards short. Dunston back to second for the sure out. So a fielder's choice for Gary Carter, and with 1 out, the batter, Darryl Strawberry.
And let's go to Philadelphia in the action there. This is Ozzie Virgil, and he hits it hard into left center field, a 2-base hit. And coming in to score is Mike Schmidt to tie the game at 1-1. And now Luis Aguayo doubles to left. Virgil, who is on second base, comes in to score, and the Phillies lead by a score of 2-1. Schmidt made it a 3-1 ball game when he knocked in Stone, so the Phillies still batting, leading 3-1 against the St. Louis Cardinals in the bottom half of the third.
And here's Darryl Strawberry with a tremendous home run following Carter's blast. Darryl with 25 home runs, 1 shy of his career high that he had in '83 and '84. 1-0.
And you could say that's quite a job of hitting, as he missed 7 weeks of the season.
Well, 2 years ago, he missed 4 weeks of the season, as he didn't come up until when? May 6th, right?
Willie Mays' birthday.
Grounds this one toward Durham. Could get 2. Dunston back to Durham. They can't turn it. I think had Durham touched the bag and then gone to second, he has a better play at getting Carter, huh, Ralph?
He started to do it that way and decided he couldn't make it, so he changed the direction he was going and threw down to second base. Right here, he had an idea about going to the bag, figured he better get the lead runner for sure. Did that, and Strawberry, of course, can't be doubled with his speed on a ball like that.
So the batter, George Foster. George with 1 hit tonight and 3 for 3 in last night's game. 3-1, New York. Ball well hit, left field. This ball's got a chance. Forget it. Home run, George Foster. The Mets lead 5-1. Man. Dug that ball off the ground, didn't he, Ralph?
Foster, who has been on a hitting tear, now has had 5 hits in his last 5 at bats. Low fastball, no doubt about it, as he takes it over the left center field fence into the bleachers. And Foster with his 19th home run and his 70th and 71st runs batted in, and the Mets lead 5-1.
Fontenot will be pitching to Ray Knight. 3 home runs have accounted for 4 runs, and now Knight base hit to left field, and that's got to be all for Fontenot, I would think.
That's picking up their 8th base hit as Knight comes through after the home run by Foster, and here comes Jim Fry to the mound. Fontenot, trying to pick up his 7th victory, is on the verge of getting his 9th defeat, and his record against the Mets, 1-3 coming in. And in this game, he has given up home runs to Carter, Strawberry, and Foster, and now has given up 20 on the season.
That, by the way, George Foster's 19th home run of the year. Mets with 3 home runs in 2 innings. And the new pitcher is going to be Derek Botello, and as Fontenot leaves. And we'll get all the information about Derek Botello. That was a hat trick that Fontenot pulled going off. Did you see that?
Boy, he's got to be really shaken up on those 3 home run blasts.
Strawberry had a hat trick of his own, didn't he?
He hit it right into the home run head out in right center field, actually more center field. Botello, coming in the ball game, has a record of 1 win and 3 losses. Made his first appearance this year in the major leagues against the Mets in the National League. He has not had a save, so he's 1-3-0 with an earned run average of 5.85. This is his 9th ball game for the Cubs.
And our crack statistician, Jay Horowitz, is in to inform us that the Mets now with 122 home runs. That's the 2nd most home runs they've hit since the inception of the franchise back in 1962, when they hit 139. So if they can have 17 home runs in the next 17 games, or 16 2/3 games. Well, Ralph, let's play a little Mets trivia. What do you think of that?
About time.
All right. What is the longest 9-inning game in hours and minutes the Mets have ever played? Mull that one over, and soon we'll flash the answer on your screen.
Take a few hours to figure that one out.
The longest game ever, 9-inning game now, not extra inning game. The longest extra inning game was this year in Atlanta, wasn't it?
Well, it was the latest finished game. It finished at 3:55. The longest game the Mets ever played was a 7-hour, 23-minute game, the second game of a doubleheader with the San Francisco Giants.
Okay.
That also was the longest game ever played in time as a doubleheader.
So Santana 1 for 1. He singled in the second. Ray Knight at first base with his first hit. Derek Botello on the mound. All right.
5-1 Phillies in the bottom of the third inning.
Well, Mets fans ought to be happy about that as Santana drills one foul.
Phillies keeping pace with the Mets. The Mets are leading 5-1.
The way the Cardinals have been playing, no lead appears to be safe. They had won 7 in a row coming into tonight's game. And 2 games ahead of the Mets. Two out, 0-1 to Santana. And a slider to short. Dunston will take it himself. He wanted to give it to Sandberg. That was a funny scene. But he handled it himself. But 2 more runs for the Mets on 3 base hits, no errors, and 1 man left. So after 3 innings of play, it's 5-1 New York. Now here's a word from Busch Beer.
Top of the 4th, the Mets leading by a score of 5-1. And as soon as he finishes eating Bob Murphy's birthday cake, Steve Zabriski will be with you with the play-by-play.
Now, to tell the truth, I haven't even gotten to have a bite of it yet. But thank you, Ralph, and hi, everybody. You and Timmy have been having all the fun here. 5-1 New York.
And here is Mike Schmidt with the base hit to left field that scores Stone from third base to make it a 3-1 ball game. And now Aguayo coming through with another big base hit. And Vaughn Hayes comes in to score, and the Phillies lead by a score of 5-1.
And that cheer you hear in the background, not for Keith Moreland, but for the fact that that Philadelphia St. Louis score was just posted here on the scoreboard at Shea. Moreland lined out to right his first time up, and he looks at ball 1 from Sid Fernandez. Keith working on a 7-game hitting streak over which he's hit .360. Picked up hit in his last at bat last night to extend that to 7 games. And that'll be out of play, and the count 1-1.
Longest hitting streak in the National League held by Ryan Sandberg, who hit in 18 games this year. He also hit in 18 games last year.
He's had another great year. Of course, it has not received the notoriety that last year's outstanding performance did, because the Cubs are out of the race. This ball could stay in play, but now it's slicing and will be about 5 or 6 rows back. So the count 1-2 to Moreland. Keith has also driven in 18 runs in the last 18 games, and I would have to say, Ralph, that beside the performance of Sandberg, which has been basically a second-half performance, Moreland would have to be considered the most consistent Cub this year.
Good solid hitter. The Tigers 6, the Yankees 2, bottom of the 3rd.
And the breaking ball grounded foul just outside 3rd. So the count holds at 1-2.
Sandberg hit 192 in the month of April, but now hitting at 310. And he's having a comparable year stat-wise. In fact, even better in the home run and stolen base department that he had last year when he was the MVP.
That's right. The difference is the Cubs' standings in the National League East. Moreland hitting just under 300, 297, with 88 RBIs to lead the club. And the fastball up and away makes it 2-2. 5 runs on 8 hits for the Mets, 1 run on only 1 base hit. The home run by Gary Matthews for the Cubs. And strikeout number 5 for Sid Fernandez.
And Sid goes to the fastball for this strikeout. Moreland unable to get a piece of it. And Sid, who has the best strikeout ratio in Major League Baseball this year, tacks on his 5th strikeout in his 4th inning. Phillies got another, and they lead 6-1, and they are finally out in the bottom of the 3rd.
Ron Fay, the batter, who grounded into an inning-ending force play back in the 1st. And a ball high and away again. And when Fernandez misses with the fastball consistently, it is usually up and away to right-handed hitters. And he had a problem in the first inning, walking 2, but got out of it. And again, he's high and away, and it's 2-0. Sid is sort of like the little girl with the curl in the middle of her forehead. When he's good, he's very, very good. When he falls into bad patterns, and really get off the track. Now it's 3-0.
Sid must think he's at Christmas time right now. They finally got him some runs.
Well, he has been a hard luck guy, and he's lost a lot of close ball games.
Only 2 of the games that he has pitched where the Mets have scored any amount of runs at all.
And he walked Shea on 4 consecutive pitches. And that is the 3rd walk he has issued.
The first baseman, Leon Durham.
And for that reason, Gary Carter with a little pep talk. So Shea at first with 1 away. And the bull, the batter, Leon Durham. Leon nearly decapitated Wally Backman leading off the 2nd inning as he hit a tracer and almost knocked Wally down. Backman fortunately not injured and able to make the play.
It came off a curveball. Let's see if they'll throw him that curve again.
Fastball for strike 1. And another fastball on the outside corner, 0-2. Three straight fastballs and strikeout number 6 for El Cid.
Well, this was really a mustard pitch right here. He had something on that in a perfect spot. Right on that inside corner at the letters, and another big strikeout.
2 out. Shea, who walked, still at first for Jody Davis, who struck out his first time up. That began a streak of 3 in a row Sid had over the 2nd and 3rd inning. And another strike. So 4 straight balls to Shea, and now 4 straight strikes to the next 2 hitters. Boy, that one almost got by Carter. 1-1. You have to wonder, Ralph, what it is about Fernandez that can, at one point, enable him to throw the ball with such excellent location, and then on other occasions, and even in the same sequence of pitches, almost miss the catcher entirely. Curveball just missed.
I think the thing that makes him such a tough pitcher to hit is the same thing that makes him wild. He has that strange motion of throwing, and he kind of jerks at throwing the ball to the plate, and it is not rhythmic, but it helps him with his pitches when it's in the strike zone, and hurts him, of course, because he does not have that constant command of that pitch.
Just fouled off. 2-2. He sort of slings the ball up there.
That's a good way to explain it, because he'll come up and it looks like he's pausing, and then all of a sudden his arm catches up and then slings it into the plate. And that little motion in there that is almost a delay motion is what probably hurts him with his command. Jim Fry looking on.
He's one of the great gum chewers of all time. 2-2 with 2 out. And fouled back.
Jim had to go to the gum because he was smoking too many cigarettes, so he quit smoking. You can see him make you go to anything.
The season he's had, he's done a good job to stick with gum. He can pound that gum, boy. Another 2-2 pitch. Sid Fernandez strikes out the side and has 7 Ks through the first 4 innings as the Mets lead it 5-1. Going to the bottom of the 4th after this for the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages. The longest 9-inning game in hours and minutes, meaning in length of time, that the Mets have ever played. Care to hazard a guess there, Mr. K?
I'm going to guess 3 hours and 51.5 minutes.
Could you be more precise, please? Look at this. 3 hours and 50 minutes. August 8th of 65 against these same Chicago Cubs.
Does post count?
I'd give you that in a minute and a half.
Well, that was a guess, I'll tell you that.
You missed it by a minute and a half. And obviously I was being facetious when I said, could you be more precise? You couldn't have been much more precise. Good going. Sid Fernandez leads it off with a 5-1 New York lead in the bottom of the 4th and a strike 1 from Botello. Botello in relief of Fontenot, who was shellacked through the first 2 2/3, and it's strike 2 to Sid. There's Derek. The Cubs could run 1 pitcher in an inning and probably not feel it. And on 3 pitches, Fernandez is out of there. First strikeout for Botello.
The American League scoreboard showing the Tigers leading 6-2 in the bottom of the 4th. Brewers 3 and the Orioles 1 in the bottom of the 4th. No score. The Angels playing the White Sox top of the 2nd. And Seattle nothing, Kansas City nothing. That ball game in the 2nd.
Mookie Wilson walked in the first inning, got an infield single in the 2nd to drive in a run. And he's excited, isn't he? And Mookie bunting for a base hit. Botello makes the throw and not in time. Mookie legs out another hit.
Well, a little push bunt to the third base side. Good play on it by Botello to make it close at first. Mookie outrunning the throw and picking up the base hit. Mookie now 2 for 2 with a walk.
And here's Wally Backman, who will continue to hit left-handed, but now against the right-handed throwing Derek Botello. Wally sacrificed in the first and struck out in the 2nd. Going to throw to first as Mookie dives back. Mookie with 21 stolen bases. Running, and the pitch is in the dirt, and Mookie may go to third. He's going to try, and he'll make it without a play.
Well, Davis did not make a good play right here. It's not his fault that the ball got away, but he should have let it roll. If it rolls in the dugout, it's only 1 base, but he went in and slid and picked it up, touched it, and that gave Mookie the sure third base. If he lets that ball roll, it is a grounds rule, and Mookie has to go back to 2nd.
That's right, 1 base off the mound.
Well, Mookie seeing the ball get away, and he moves on to 3rd, so the Mets have a runner in scoring position on the stolen base and the wild pitch.
So Mookie at 3rd with 1 out, 1 ball to count on Backman. Infield in all the way around, and Wally takes ball 2. We're in the bottom of the 4th with the Mets leading 5-1.
Cubs playing their infield in for a play at the plate.
That'll be out of play, and it's 2-1. He's fallen off a little at late, and that is one reason that he has abandoned the switch hitting effort. But here, with Fontenot gone, he's got a right-hander to work against. And he grounds it. There will be a play at the plate as Sandberg comes back, and Mookie gets in a rundown. falls down, and he may get there, but Botello is there to tag him out. He stayed in the rundown long enough, however, for Backman to make it to second base, which was his goal.
Outstanding job of base running by Mookie Wilson. He comes in here now and moves when the ball is hit. Now look at that sliding stop. And he stops and gets down here. The catcher runs into the third baseman, but now the throw to the pitcher for the tag. And in the rundown, it allows Backman to get down to second base, and the Mets still have a runner in scoring position. Shea running into Davis, but now getting the throw off to Botello. So Backman at second, 2 men away, and the batter's Keith Hernandez.
Score at 4-2-5-1 on the rundown play and a fielder's choice for Backman. Hernandez is 1 for 2. He lined to short into a double play and singled to right his last time up. He looks at a ball low.
That was a favorite play of my first manager in baseball, Specs to Porsche. He'd love to see you come in, get in the rundown, stay in it long enough so the runner could get down to second. He said, if you make them throw it enough, they might throw it away.
It's true. That's out of play. You never know what's going to happen. So that time, at least, playing the infield in paid off for Chicago.
Phillies 6, the Cardinals 2. The Cardinals got one back in the top of the fourth. Detroit tacking on 2 more against the Yankees. They're now leading 8-2 in the bottom of the fourth.
Hernandez hits a rope to right, but Moreland is there and makes the play. So the inning is over, and the Mets do not score. 1 base hit and 1 left here in the 4th inning. However, New York still leads at 5-1 over Chicago. Now here's a word from Purolator Courier. Exciting baseball tonight with some tremendous home runs from the Mets. Sid Fernandez has been his strikeout potent self with 7 Ks through the first 4, and he will face Sean Dunston, a possible pinch hitter for the pitcher Botello, and then the top of the order Bob Dernier. Dunston struck out his first time up. That's inside, ball 1.
Well, the Tigers leading 8-2. They've had 4 home runs in the ball game. They had a ton of home runs yesterday against the Yankees.
Gary Woods has come out on deck to be the pinch hitter. Ball 2 is high.
They have 4 home runs off Phil Niekro yesterday, and now Joe Niekro, the starting pitcher for the Yankees. And I don't know if all 4 have been hit off of Joe, but the Niekro brothers being hit hard by the Tigers.
Phil, of course, was going for his 300th victory, and Joe back with his brother again in his first American League start in a long time. There's Gary Woods, who will swing the bat in place of Derek Botello. 2-1 to Dunston. And the off-speed breaking ball just fouled away, 2-2.
Dunston looks like a very aggressive type hitter. He does jump at the ball, be very susceptible to change of speeds.
And Sid has been changing even a little bit on his fastball tonight, which is a little bit of a new wrinkle from him.
Got Sandberg to fly out to center field on an off-speed pitch back in the 3rd.
2-2. Again, Fernandez has struck out 3 in a row, and that is number 8.
And his last 4 outs have been on strikeouts, with a walk sandwiched in between his 5th and his 8th. Larry Sorensen throwing in the bullpen for the Cubs.
And here's Gary Woods to pinch hit. Gary hitting .237 on the year. No homers and 4 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, he is 7 for 25. And he takes a strike. One out, nobody on. And the big curveball drops in there. 0-2. Even for the 3 walks, Ralph, that Sid has given up, he, for the most part, has been ahead of the hitters. Just missed outside with that breaking ball. 1-2.
He's broad. Look at the back of him.
He's got something to bring it up there with. Fastball outside, and it's 2-2.
Woods hit .235 for the Cubs last year with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. 87 ball games. Originally signed by Oakland.
And he goes after the high rider. Fernandez has struck out 4 in a row and 9 total.
And it's way out of the strike zone, a high fastball. So Sid has had actually 5 in a row with that walk sandwich in. Special edition of Kiner's Corner. How about that?
Yep. Join Ralph for a look at the race for the pennant Sunday, 1:30, right here on Channel 9, a special Kiner's Corner, because the start of the game has been moved back to 2 o'clock. So Ralph will be here with race for the pennant at 1:30 Sunday, and we'll be with you after that for the ball game. Curveball to Bob Dernier is inside, ball 1. Dernier 0 for 2, struck out looking and grounded to short.
Pirates are next for the Mets. Friday night, Saturday afternoon at 1:20. That game time has been changed. And for those of you who like to follow Dwight Gooden, the doctor is pitching on Saturday. He comes in with a record of 21-4. He'll be working against Rick Rhoden, who has won 9 and lost 13.
1-1. Out of play, 1-2. Dernier batting with 2 out and nobody on in the 5th inning. And Sid Fernandez, who has struck out 9 through 4 2/3, has a career high of 13, which he has reached on 2 occasions this year. So that is certainly within reach tonight. Popped up to short left field down the line. Foster with a long way to come, but he is there and makes the play. So a 1-2-3 inning for Sid Fernandez in the 5th. And after 4.5, it's still 5-1 New York. Now here's a word from Citizen Watches. No saves and a 4.60 ERA. His 43rd appearance. He's worked 76 1/3. Walked 20, struck out 32, and yielded 8 home runs among his 84 base hits. And as we go to the bottom of the 5th with the Mets on top 5-1, back in to call it is Ralph Kiner.
And Sorensen to pitch to Gary Carter as his first batter. Carter with a home run in the 2nd to put the Mets up by a score of 1-0. It was followed by a home run by Darryl Strawberry. 4th time the Mets have had back-to-back home runs, and the 2nd time that it has been Carter and Strawberry. Mets also had a 2-run home run from George Foster, all off of the starting pitcher Ray Fontenot. Carter also has grounded into a forced play, so he is 1 for 2 tonight. And Sorensen's first pitch grounded down to the third baseman Ron Cey, and Carter down on the ground fouling that ball off his foot. Cey is saying to the third base umpire, Bob Davidson, where's the shoe polish? There's no doubt about it. He hit that foot.
He drove it right down on what appeared to be just the inside part of the instep of his left foot. Whammo. Right off the top of the foot. Gary has had more than his share of bruised body this year.
Bud Harrelson saying they can't hurt us. Get up there and hit.
Really, there's not much, although trainer Steve Garland is out there, there's not a whole lot you can do for a guy that bangs one off his feet, because it's just got to shake it off. Wait till it subsides enough to where you can put some weight on it.
Tonight in Philadelphia in the 5th inning, Vince Coleman has stolen his 100th base of this season. Of course, every time he steals a base, he sets a new rookie record, breaking the old rookie record set by Juan Samuel, who had 72 stolen bases last year for the Phillies. 1-1 the count.
That's all Gary needed after getting hit on the foot by his own bat to get hit by a pitch. Incidentally, in that St. Louis-Chicago game, the score is still 6-2 Philadelphia. No change as they're in the top of the sixth.
And a good changeup by Sorensen to count 1-2. Carter with 12 home runs and 24 runs batted in his last 19 games. One ball, two strikes. And the changeup is popped up out into shallow left field. Coming up in the ball is Matthews, and Gary makes the catch. So Carter's out for the first out in the bottom of the sixth inning, and it brings up Darryl Strawberry, who had that tremendous home run to center field back in the second, his 25th of the year.
There's a nice shot. Hang together when things are going bad. Don Zimmer with his arm around Ruben Amaro.
Strawberry drove the ball right in the home run Big Apple, his first time up in this ball game. One ball, one strike.
Well, in the American League West, California's taken a 1-0 lead over the White Sox into the bottom of the third. And no score still. Seattle at Kansas City, top of the fourth.
And Strawberry fouls back the fastball. The count goes to 1-2. Darryl has had 9 home runs and 24 runs batted in his last 30 ball games. Cincinnati went for the 2 points, and they lead 15-5 over Atlanta.
I tell you, they don't think it's over for them.
They are picking up a little bit of ground. They started 6.5 games back of the Dodgers.
And they're playing like they want it, too. Now they got that Pete Rose Ty Cobb record business out of the way. They get back to baseball, and they've been playing good ball.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Sorensen with a record of 3-7. Struck him out. So Strawberry misses the fastball. 2 men away here in the 5th inning.
Well, it's out there where Darryl could get the fat part of the bat on it, but he wasn't there at the same time that the ball was. First strikeout for Sorensen, only the 4th strikeout by a Met in the ball game.
And it brings up George Foster, who's on a tear. In this game, he's had a home run and a single. Yesterday's ball game, he was 3 for 3 with a walk. So he's had 5 hits in his last 5 at-bats.
And George has actually had 6 hits in his last 6 at-bats going back to the game before that.
And the curveball, and that's ball 1.
As you see, as a Met, George has been over 20 twice and should go over 20 again this year.
2 balls, no strikes.
Foster has an opportunity right now to tie the club record of 7 hits in 7 consecutive official at-bats that John Milner set for the Mets back in 1972.
All-time record is 12 hits and 12 official plate appearances. Ground ball to the shortstop, and Dunston will have a play at first base to keep Foster from tying that record. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Sorensen, and the score at the end of 5. The Mets 5, the Chicago Cubs 1. Now here's a word from Metropolitan Life.
inning. The Cardinals have added a run in their half, but the Phillies still lead at 6-3.
And here at Shea, the Mets are leading by a score of 5-1 as Sid Fernandez takes his pitches preparatory to working to the Cubs in the 6th inning. He'll be working to Gary Matthews, Ryan Stanberg, and Keith Moreland as his first 3 batters.
I dare say those 2 young men are not the only ones who feel that Hernandez is number 1.
Gary Matthews with a home run to account for the Cubs' 1 run, his 11th home run of the year. And it was his 2nd home run off the Mets this year. He is now 7 for 31 against Mets pitching this season. He also has walks, so he has been perfect so far tonight. First pitch, a fastball. Lifetime average of .294 with 19 home runs, 59 RBIs, including the home run tonight. And the fastball missed. They call him the Sarge.
And for good reason. He can be a take charge guy.
Curveball grounded foul. Sarge traded to the Cubs from Atlanta. No, from Philadelphia. Atlanta to Philadelphia to the Cubs. Started his career with the Giants. Foul back.
A lot of people started their career with the Giants.
Giants have traded away so much talent over the years that you can just about name anybody that's been a good player. Cepeda, McCovey. There's a ground ball to the second base side. Great play by Backman. And the Sarge is out.
Well, Wally may be struggling just a little bit right now at the plate, but you cannot find fault with his play in the field. He has played all year long an outstanding second base. This ball was headed for right field and a base hit, but Backman, who always gives it everything he's got, comes up with a great effort.
Well, the Sarge will have to salute that play.
That's right. That's a lieutenant at least out there, maybe a major.
Now the batter will be Ryan Sandberg, who has walked and flied out to center, and that's ball 1. Sandberg hitting .310 for the year, 23 home runs, 68 RBIs. Ball 2. Sandberg with 49 stolen bases. That has tied a Cub record for stolen bases by a second baseman. Tied with Evers, who did it back in 1906. The Evers of Tinker to Evers to Chance. Chance holds the Cub record for the most stolen bases in a single season. Back in 1903, he stole 67.
An unusual feat for a first baseman.
And also becoming a great manager. So the count at 3 balls and 1 strike.
This young man, if he stays with Chicago, might take care of a few Chicago club records before he's through.
Fastball fouled away. That puts the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sandberg walked in the 3-2 pitch back in the first inning.
Coming into the game, he was hitting .405 over the last 19 games.
And another foul ball. Three and 2, the count to Ryan Sandberg. The Mets leading 5-1 as the Cubs bat in the 6th. And for the second time, Sandberg has walked on a 3-2 pitch. 4th walk issued by Sid Fernandez.
The right fielder, Keith.
Runner at first base with 1 out, and it brings up Keith Moreland. Moreland has lined to right and was struck out.
Well, tonight's $100 RC Cola New York Mets out-of-the-way play winner is Carol Marino of Lodi, New Jersey. Be sure to look for game details and entries at participating stores.
And this ball pulled foul. Moreland with 18 base hits against the Mets and 57 at-bats, batting over 300 against the Mets this year with 2 home runs and 10 runs batted in. Brought a 7-game hitting streak into the game and is 0 for 2 to this point. Sandberg chased back.
And you could see from that graphic a moment ago regarding the RBIs of Moreland how they have increased each year that he has been with Chicago.
And that graphic right there on Sid Fernandez. Pretty strong numbers. The off-speed pitch, and Moreland way out in front. It's strike 2. Sandberg a short lead at first base. Now time call, so everybody relaxes for a few seconds. And again, the throw to first.
Philadelphia has just changed pitchers in the bottom of the 6th inning, or rather the top of the 6th inning with St. Louis batting. It's still 6-3. But the Cardinals have brought in a relief pitcher.
And this one hit hard to left, but Foster's right there. Sandberg back to first base. And 2 men away. That'll bring up Ron Shea.
Childress is into the game for Philadelphia. In relief of Rucker, who had started the ball game. Childress in there in the top of the 6th for the Phillies.
Shea with 1 at bat officially, 0 for 1. And again, El Cid over to first. Cubs trailing by 4. That's still looking for Sandberg to run. The Cubs have had a lot of stolen bases this year, 158. And Shea pops it up. Foster a lot of time to get to it. And he makes the play, and that retires the side. So a walk and a man left. The score at the end, 5.5 innings. The Mets 5, the Cubs 1. Now here's a word from R.C. Cola.
In Dallas, weekday afternoons at 4, right here on Channel 9.
Them right here on Channel 9. We're going to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Mets leading 5-1, and Ray Knight to lead off. Ray with a base hit and 2 at-bats. Batting for the first time against Larry Sorensen, the 3rd pitcher used by Jim Fry. Sorensen's curveball a strike. This date in baseball history, Ernie Banks blasted his 5th grand slam of the season, which set a major league record in a loss to the Cardinals, losing 6-5. That was another one that took me out of the record books.
He had a bad enough year this year with Guerrero. Well, you know, another of the great cliches, Ralph. Records were made to be broken, but
only if there's somebody else.
I was going to say, not yours, right?
1 ball, 1 strike to count tonight, and that's a strike. 1 and 2.
No, I think that's what Ray Knight's questioning, because John Kibler appealed down to first base umpire Dick Stello. And they put a strike on the board.
I thought I saw Kibler raise his hand. He says no, 2 balls and 1, so it is not a strike. But Kibler gave the strike sign.
He gave sort of a half-hearted one.
And it's ball 3 now. Scoreboard is not correct at this point. Kibler holding up 3 fingers on the left hand. That's the ball hand. And 1 finger on the right hand, which is a strike hand.
And, of course, they changed it immediately, meaning nothing has happened.
And it's ball 4. So Knight works out a walk. First base runner with Sorensen in the ball game. Let's get their second walk of the game. Their first was Mookie Wilson against the starter Ray Fontenot, and it brings up Rafael Santana.
And you saw Tom Gorman, the left-hander, throwing for New York.
Santana with a base hit in the second inning is 1 for 2. And the fastball fouled away.
National League scoreboard still top of the 6th. Philadelphia leading St. Louis 6-3. In the 8th inning, Pittsburgh-Montreal tied at 6. The Reds pummeled the Braves 15-5. In the second, Houston and LA tied 1-1. And earlier today, San Diego beat San Francisco 11-3.
And the fastball fouled again, strike 2. Well, if Cincinnati sees the Dodgers lose, they'll be 5.5 games away from first.
And there certainly is enough time left to make up that lead, so it's really not over in the National League West, of course.
Not over till it's over.
Whenever that turns out to be. And for 2 or 3 or really possibly all 4 races, could go down to the final weekend of the season. Now Zim's got his arm around Richie Hebner. He's pals with everybody tonight.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And the breaking ball of ball. He was telling me about the first time he got hit in the head. He was unconscious for 13 days.
Well, we ought to precede that by saying he does have a steel plate in his head. And you said it right the first time he got hit in his head.
He got hit another time, and he was out of action for 6 weeks because of his eyesight being bothered with a torn retina. Again, a ground ball foul.
Popeye is one of the real baseball men in the game. And Tim McCarver's pointed out that he's proud of the fact that he has never gotten a paycheck from any other source other than baseball in his entire life. There aren't many around who can say that.
Ground ball to third. Shea backs up on it. They lose a chance to get the double play as they pick up the force play at second. So Sandberg gets to put out at second.
Shea backed up to avoid the in-between hop and wanted to, of course, get that lead runner in the sure 1 out. Had he charged the ball, it would have been not only a tough hop, but a tough throw to second base as well. So the proper decision there by the Penguin.
Now it's Sid Fernandez, and Sid 0 for 2 in this game. He has struck out twice. And he squares to bunt and bunts it foul.
As great as Sid has pitched tonight, and he has had a fine outing so far, I know he is unhappy and frustrated with his 2 at-bats, 2+ at-bats at the plate so far.
Mets have 4 good hitting pitchers in Fernandez, Gooden, Darling, and Aguilera. This one bunted out to the mound, and no play at second as Sorensen takes the easy way and picks up the out at first.
Well, Sid up there obviously sacrificing all the way. Almost bunted it too hard. Sorensen looked at second, but Santana, who had a good jump and runs well, was too close to the bag, so the sacrifice successful 1-4.
And it brings up Mookie Wilson, who's had a fine night tonight, 2 for 2 in a walk. Mookie now in his 11 game starts since coming off the disabled list has had 19 hits and 43 at-bats. Batting .314 with 24 RBIs against the Cubs in his major league career. And Sorensen's fastball for ball 1. Mookie walked in 4 pitches in the first inning. Got an infield hit in the second and beat out a bunt in the fourth. And a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. The paid attendance here tonight, 26,812. Total in the house, 28,558.
And that puts the Mets over the 2.5 million mark for the season.
On their way to breaking the all-time attendance record in New York. Mets hold that record, set back in 1970, close to 2,700,000. And the off-speed pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Sorensen has done a good job so far as the third pitcher. He's allowed just a walk, with Santana reaching on the fielder's choice.
Mets leading 5-1. A runner in scoring position. 2 men out. Bottom of the 6th inning. And Santana getting the attention of Sorensen, so Sorensen steps off the pitching rudder. And this one is popped up. Jody Davis, the catcher, with a play. That retires his side. So in the inning, no runs, no hits, a walk, a runner left at second. And as we go to the top of the 7th, Tim McCarver coming back in. The score, the Mets 5 and the Cubs 1. Now here's a word from Busch Beer.
All right, Leon Durham, 0 for 2 on the night. That young man does not care about Leon Durham or anybody
or anything
for
else
that matter.
at this point.
Mets up 5-1. Sid Fernandez has allowed only 1 hit. That was Gary Matthews' 11th home run of the year. Curveball is outside and high. Fernandez has struck out 9 and he has walked 4.
Ricky Horton is now in the game for the Cardinals, their 5th pitcher in the ball game, as Philadelphia still leads at 6-3.
Oh, you can't wear down a staff in September, can you?
No, you're talking about that earlier about the Cubs. They've got an entire bench full of pitchers.
Swing and a miss at a high fastball. Like the Battle of Gettysburg, they just keep coming.
Endless waves. Tigers with 5 homers in the game, 2 by Darryl Evans. They lead the Yanks 10-3.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, his 10th strikeout of the ball game.
Sid's career high, as we mentioned earlier, is 13. He's gotten Durham twice now, both times on fastball. And except for the 4 walks, which have not hurt Sid, with the 1 run coming on the only hit, the home run, he has been about as near perfect as you can be.
Jody Davis, the batter. He has struck out twice. Swing and a miss. Cubs going after that high fastball, and if you do that against Fernandez, he'll get you out. Fernandez struck out 13 Reds on the 22nd of July and lost the ball game. And he did that in only 7 1/3 innings. Then he struck out 13 Phils on the 12th of August.
I think the one glaring thing that separates Sid Fernandez from Dwight Gooden is command of his pitches. And if Sid ever gets it, look out.
Curveball lifted to right. Strawberry loping in, 2 out. The Mets and Fernandez so far in total control. Home runs by Carter and Strawberry in the second. As you see, Steve Ingle warming up for the Cubs with Sean Dunston, the batter. And a big 2-run home run by George Foster in the third. 4 of the runs coming on home run.
And Dunston swings and misses. He has struck out twice. Billy Hatcher, the on-deck batter. Curveball to short. Dunston can run, but not fast enough. An easy inning for Fernandez as the Cubs go in order, and after 6.5, it's 5-1 Mets. Now here's a word from the good old guys. Fans there, and that reminds us that Fan Appreciation Day will be held on Saturday afternoon, October 5th, when the Mets meet the Montreal Expos at 1:35. All fans will receive a blue and orange knit scarf courtesy of Puroleta Courier, the name to remember in Overnight Express. The Mets will also stage a game-long giveaway, and one lucky fan may drive away with this sporty Nissan pickup truck. Compliments of Nissan and your local New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Nissan Datsun dealers. Also that day, the first 40,000 adults through the gates will receive a 160-page book full of discounts in the metropolitan area. Puroleta Courier Day, Fan Appreciation, October 5th.
And among the prizes on Fan Appreciation Day, a pair of lucky fans will each receive a 5-day stay for two at Spring Training 86 in St. Pete, with round trip provided by U.S. Air.
And Wally Backman takes the fastball high. Wally 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. Wally at one time 4th in the league in hitting about a month ago, but his average has fallen to 274. And he tries to bunt his way on unsuccessfully, 0-2. 5-1, New York in front. And the Cardinals are losing in Philadelphia. Mets with 9 hits, the Cubs with 1.
St. Louis, oh, excuse me, Timmy. I was going to say St. Louis batted a long time in the top of the 6th, but they did not score.
High chopper towards second, tough play. And a good one by Sandberg. What an athlete.
This is one of the toughest plays a second baseman has to make, where you charge in. He got the short hop and then made a good accurate throw on the run across his body to the first baseman.
And the ball stayed down on him too, Steve, to make it doubly tough when you have to reach way down, come back up, get in throwing position, and then nail the runner. It's that much more difficult. Hernandez 1 for 3 on the night. He's single back in the 3rd. Keith's hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. He lined into a double play in the first inning. And then he lined to right field for the 2 outs that he has made. Keith entered the game batting .291. A knuckleball is low, 1-1.
Now top of the 7th as the Phillies fail to score in the bottom of the 6th. Still 6-3 Philadelphia over St. Louis.
Fastball right on the corner. Sorensen is doing a very effective job on the Mets tonight.
Keith was not thrilled with this call, obviously, but Jody Davis set up right there, and Sorensen hit the glove. Well, 99 times out of 100, you're going to get that call.
1-2 to Keith Hernandez. He might get that knuckleball again. Sorensen's been working on that pitch for a month of Sundays. Bill Latham, the lefty, warming up. There's the knuckleball, grounded to second. High hop for Sandberg, 2 out.
The catcher.
Bill Latham could be a starter, Steve, in Sunday afternoon's affair. Ed Lynch was scratched with back spasms.
Yeah, we might look for Terry Leach. Or Latham. And again, as with the Cubs, although the Mets don't have near as many pitchers as the Cubs do on their roster, at least Davey Johnson has a couple that he can choose from.
Organizations don't have as many pitchers as the Cubs do on their September roster. 18 pitchers for the Cubs. The knuckleball is out of the glove of Jody Davis. He'd have had that with that big mitt.
That's right. He's trying to catch it with the regular catcher's mitt, not the folded pizza pan.
Flexible pizza pan, huh? The family size.
That's right.
Speaking of pizza pans, those Yankees losing tonight to the Detroit Tigers.
For those of you who don't know, the owner of the Tigers also owns a chain of nationwide pizza parlors.
Tom Monahan.
And he delivers.
He certainly does. And the Tigers are delivering tonight. Darryl Evans with his 5th home run in 3 days. Line drive, base hit to left for Carter. Gary now 2 for 4. He hit his 29th home run back in the 2nd inning. And the batter, Darryl Strawberry.
Well, Gary was 2 for 4 last night. He has a 5-game hitting streak going, over which he has hit well over 400. And you talk about being hot at the right time. He has been red hot and locked in.
And Gary, 2 home runs away from his all-time high. He had 31 back in 1977, as you saw the action in the Cub bullpen. Darryl with home run number 25 following Carter's. 1-0. Durham behind Carter at first base, and that's standard. Gary with that bad knee, and even on a good knee, he's not a threat to steal. One and one to Strawberry.
And California still leading Chicago, bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0 in that tight race. Seattle over the Royals, 2-0 in the bottom of the 5th. So
if the Royals lose and the Angels win, it'll be tied. Who's that, Buddy Hackett?
I don't know. It could be his brother.
Not sure. Fastball is low. 2-1 to Strawberry. Sorensen, the 3rd Cub pitcher of the night.
And as you see, the Mets in double figures in hits again. Getting to be almost routine.
And it's 3-1 to Darryl Strawberry. Cubs with only 1 hit. To Strawberry, an ideal hitting situation for Darryl. He'll go away with probably the fastball. And he does, and he lifts it to left. Gary Matthews on his mule, and he can't make the play. Foul ball. And I mean just foul. Matthews looked like he tried to make the basket catch on that, huh?
He overran the ball. He tried to stop, and you see the ball's into his body. Boy, that ball was just barely foul, as you said, Timmy. He was really running hard. Now he's really overrunning the ball. It goes right between his arms as he tried to stop. And I think he tried for the basket catch because he did overrun the ball.
That ball dropped down about 6 inches at the most foul.
Let's look at it again. It's awful close. Looks like it hits right on the line.
Tell you that it was a very close play. Now Matthews, he could have knocked it back toward the foul line if he touched it. I don't know whether he touched it or not. That was a basket catch with a hole in the bottom of the basket.
That's right.
Line to left. This one's going to drop. Carter to 3rd. Strawberry to 2nd. Here comes Carter. Dunston got him at home. What a throw by Sean Dunston.
Well, the Mets taking a bit of a chance with a 5-1 lead. You see the ball bobbled by Matthews, and that is what caused third base coach Bud Harrelson to send Carter, because the ball popped away, and it didn't pop away very far. Matthews, as you see, picked it up quickly. And watch this relay throw from the young shortstop Sean Dunston. I mean, a strike. And Carter just cut down.
No runs, 2 hits, and 1 left after 7. It's 5-1 Mets. Now here's a word from Garcia Vega.
8th inning with the Mets leading 5-1. Sid Fernandez has given up only 1 hit, and this is the longest that he has ever gone while giving up 1 hit. He went 6 innings his first outing the 10th of May while giving up a hit, and he gave up a hit in 6 innings July 7th, and we got a pinch hitter.
Billy Hatcher, as you see, 244, 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter with an RBI.
And it's 0-1 to Billy. Billy with 1 home run and 7 RBIs. Curveball is low, 1-1.
Mary Sorensen, for whom Hatcher is hitting, did a pretty good job. Pitched 3 scoreless innings, gave up 2 hits, struck out 1 and walked 1.
Good curveball. 1-2 to Billy Hatcher. $26,812 paid on the evening.
Well, there's a big key for Sid Fernandez right there. If that pitch is over, he can be trouble.
He has been trouble for the Cubs tonight. 1 hit, and that a home run by Gary Matthews.
They are now in the top of the 8th inning in Philadelphia, and the Phillies still lead the Cardinals 6-3. Don Carmen is on for the Phillies in relief now. Ricky Horton still in there for the Cardinals.
Don Carmen, the ace of the Philadelphia bullpen, 4-0 in his last 11 appearances. And Hatcher fouls another one back, so still 1-2 to Hatcher. Pittsburgh in town tomorrow night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday. Remember, the Saturday afternoon game is now a 1:20 contest, and on Sunday, a 2:05 start. Curveball grounded to Knight. He drops it, picks it up, throws it, safe at first. Going to be an error on Ray Knight.
Well, Ray, who turned the Boos around last night with his 2-run game-winning double, here's the Bluebirds again as he just boots it. Tried to recover, almost got him. Hernandez tried to help him out with a good cheat at first base. Ray just tried to pick it up and throw it before he actually had the handle on it. And Hatcher just beat it.
See, that's what happens when you don't bend your legs. When you bend your legs, and you could try it at home, it pushes the hands out in front of the body, and that's the proper way to feel the ball. Something I could never do making my switch to first base. I could not get my rear end down.
And yet, as a catcher, you had your rear end down all the time.
I never could get my rear end down unless I had equipment on. Now I look at equipment, my rear end falls to the ground. Fastball is low, 2-0 to Dernier.
With good reason.
Nobody out. Hatcher at first, 5-1 New York. Top of the 8th inning. There's a strike, 2-1 to Bob Dernier. And 1 to Dernier.
Well, the Kansas City Royals have finally scored some runs. 30 innings in a row they had not scored, and they have tied the game going to the top of the 6th inning against Seattle, 2-2.
Pops it up, and that might have been ball 4. 20 years ago, he wouldn't even have been swinging, and how about that for a surprise, sports fans?
Roger McDowell.
After working 3 innings last night, he is up and throwing, and that should tell you something about the state of Jesse Orozco's elbow. Fly ball, center field. Wilson back and should catch it. 1 out.
And the fact that Mookie had to go back on that ball shows that he was playing Bob Dernier properly. Because you've got to play Dernier shallow. And Mookie obviously able to get back on the ball with ease.
That is a key point you just made, my friend. A lot of times when an outfielder does not have to move for a fly ball, he feels as though he's playing the hitter shallow enough, and that is often not the case.
He's playing imperfectly only for that particular ball.
Right. Here's Matthews. He takes a curveball inside.
I tell you, talk about putting some crooked numbers up. There's some real nice looking straight ones, huh?
Picket fence going. 1-1 to Matthews. Speaking of picket fences.
One more strikeout will put another straight one in there, because it'll be his 11th.
One and one to Gary Matthews. 2-1. Matthews homered for the only hit in this game, and that was his 11th home run of the year. The Mets, on the other hand, have 3 home runs by Carter, Strawberry, and Foster. 2-2 to Matthews.
El Cid reached back for a little extra on this ball right here. He has done that on a few occasions tonight, and it's good to see him have it in the 8th inning. As that has been a problem in his early young career, having enough stamina to finish ball games.
Pop fly, and it's out of play. We mentioned that 2:05 start on Sunday against the Pirates. And at 1:30 New York time, Kiner's Corner will have a special edition. It'll be called the Race for the Pennant.
How appropriate.
Most certainly. Ralph will carry you through the last 2 Sundays also. Carry you right down until either the Cardinals or the Mets are eliminated. Cardinals losing now 6-3 in Philadelphia, that game in the top of the 8th inning. Lots happening in Major League Baseball. You gotta love it, huh, Steve?
Boy, I'll tell you. Still 4 races going.
Swing and a miss. He got him. 11 strikeouts for Fernandez. 2 out.
The Carumba corner. I love it. El Cid. And again, it's the fastball that he has really had some good stuff on tonight. Those are sort of mini Ks compared to the ones that the doctor gets, but when you get 11, you'll take them any way they come.
How many? 11. Ryan Sandberg has not gone down on strikes tonight. He has walked twice and flied to center. And it's 1-0.
Now in the bottom of the 8th as Philadelphia leads at 6-3. The Cardinals did not score in the top of the 8th inning.
One and one to Ryan Sandberg. You mentioned 4 races going. An interesting race right now. Going backwards to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Cincinnati won tonight 15-5. And the Dodgers losing to Houston 4-1 in the bottom of the 3rd. If they lose, that'll be 5.5 in front of the Reds. Ralph Kiner will have all the scores updated at the end of this ball game, as always, on Kiner's Corner. League standings. It's been a great year. Two and two. What a trite statement that was. It's been a great year.
Well, how else can you put it, though? You know, and appropriately, it looks like it's going to be an outstanding finish in just about every division to what has been a super year in baseball. Think of all the things that have happened. The 300-game winners. Pete Rose eclipsing Ty Cobb. I know you hate statements like that, particularly when they proceed from your own mouth.
Oh.
But how else are you going to put it?
Well, I mean, you know, we're broadcasters. We're paid to be much more elaborate than it's been a great year.
Use some literacy, right?
Yeah.
You can find it.
Go home and wash my mouth out with soap tonight. Keith Moreland on deck. 2-2 to Sandberg.
I think you're too tough on yourself.
I do too. Ball hit well to right center. Strawberry back, and he makes the catch. What a great catch by Darryl Strawberry. No runs, no hits. 1 error and 1 left. After 7.5, it's 5-1 Mets. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. Well, bottom of the 8th inning, and John Perlman is the new pitcher with Billy Hatcher remaining in the game in left field. And for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriski.
Thank you, Timmy. You see Perlman's record. He's worked only 6 1/3 innings since his call-up. A record of 0-0. Oh, really? He's the 4th pitcher of the night. Billy Hatcher stays in the game in left field, as Tim said, and will bat 9th. And so Perlman inserted into Gary Matthews' spot in the Cubs order. And George Foster leads it off here in the bottom of the 8th and takes strike 1.
Well, Thomas Keene's office represented tonight. New Jersey governor of our neighbors over in the Dairy State. This is the Dairy State, is it not?
I think that's Wisconsin.
The Garden State. Close enough. Thinking of something good for you. Garden State. How can I am not on a roll. And if I hear it, and if I... But the Phillies are. 6-3 in Philadelphia. Top of the 9th.
Here's a guy who's got New Jersey surrounded. He lives in Philadelphia and he works in New York.
And I call it the Dairy State. Well, I'll be all right. No letters, please.
That's out of play. And the count's still 0-2 to Foster. That is the home of our director, Bill Webb. He's offended.
Might be one reason I didn't know the name of it, too.
And you wouldn't really associate Bill with the Garden, would you?
He does not have a green thumb.
I was thinking more in terms of it's no picnic or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Only kidding, Bill. Only kidding.
Bill Webb, you mean. Bill Webb.
Bill Webb, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, 0-2 to Foster, leading off the 8th. Popped up and could be playable. Jody Davis has room and makes the play 1 away. And that'll bring up Ray Knight. Ray is 1 for 2 plus a walk. And gets mixed reviews. Had a tough season for 22. But he's had some pretty bright moments, especially of late.
Yeah, you kind of really throw the stats right out the window when you're fighting for a pennant. Just hope everybody is trying to produce on a game-to-game basis. You really have the same stats going into each ball game. That's the way you approach it, at least. You forget about the last 4.5, 5 months.
Let's try to do something to help the team win tonight. Strike called, 1-1. Roger McDowell now joined by Randy Neiman in the New York bullpen.
Well, Orozco has been troubled by that bad elbow or ailing elbow all year long. Davey Johnson trying to keep him healthy for the last 2.5 weeks and taking no chances.
An off-speed delivery from Perlman. A little bit high, so it's 2 balls, 1 strike. One out, nobody on. Knight to be followed by Santana as the Mets lead at 5-1 over Chicago, with the Phillies leading in the 9th 6-3 over St. Louis. That's too low. 3-1. Play 3-2. This is Perlman's first big league opportunity, as he was at Iowa in '83 and '84 as well as this year, the AAA affiliate of the Cubs. Last year he was 11-6 with Iowa. 4. Knight walks for the second consecutive at bat. First walk issued by Perlman. And here's Rafael Santana. And a pinch runner for Ray Knight.
It's like Hojo. Howard Johnson will be the pinch runner for Ray. And he'll go in to play third base in the top of the 9th inning, obviously.
Santana tonight 1 for 3. A single to center back in the second inning. Since then he's grounded into 2 fielder's choices. Johnson running on the first pitch, and it's fouled away. Well, that's tough duty right there.
It is.
Come off the bench cold and have to break for second on the first pitch.
No way you can really extend. That happened to me back in 1975 in spring training with the Red Sox. Carlton Fisk broke his arm on he was actually hit on his left arm and broke his arm, and I'd already done my work in the morning and went in there cold turkey, and on the third pitch, Don Zimmer, the third base coach, gave me the steal sign, and I pulled both quadriceps. Got a hole in my right leg to prove it.
Boy.
Just take my word for it.
I do. Believe me. And you didn't walk up any steps for about a month, probably.
Tell you got to use both hands. Those quads are a lot tougher than the hamstrings. They're a lot tougher to pull. But once you pull them, they can affect you the rest of your life, unless you become a broadcaster.
Yes, it's driven many of us to that position here behind home plate. Just inside, 1-2 to Santana. Perlman's out of Dallas, Texas. He's 28 years old, 6'3" and 185. So he's been around for a while. Started in the Cubs organization in 1979. Close play at first, but Johnson diving back safely.
A good move by John Perlman. Quick throw to first, and Johnson bit just back.
1 out, bottom of the 8th. 1-2 the count. Foul back. So still 1-2.
Some of the right fielders in the league are catching on to Santana. With 2 strikes, he will go the other way, but we have seen him fire a few dunkers in front of a lot of right fielders this year. And Keith Moreland, as a result, very shallow in right field. That's where he should be.
And Dernier shaded that way. That's an even closer play. Johnson in ahead of the throw.
Kind of a high tag by Durham, but a quick tag nonetheless. Johnson back in.
Johnson running a pitch out, and he's going to be out of there. So Jody Davis with the correct call and a good throw to nail Johnson.
He surely guessed right. It used to be, Steve, that if you threw to first base a number of times, there was no way a catcher was going to pitch out. But properly, that has changed. A lot of times, if you throw to first a few times, that lures the runner to think that you won't pitch out. Jody Davis pulling the strings on him.
Santana grounds it to Dunston, and he throws that BB across the diamond for the final out. So a walk, but a clock stealing and nobody left on here in the 8th inning. It's still 5-1 Mets, however, as we go to the 9th. After this for the good olds, guys. Inning here at Shea as the Curly Shuffle and Roger McDowell both bring a reaction from the crowd. Roger making his 54th appearance.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And what a job he has done. But, Tim, I'm a little surprised that he is in there, having pitched 3 innings last night, as we mentioned when we saw him warming up in the bullpen.
Again, the only conclusion that we can draw is that something is wrong with Jesse Orozco. The elbow is flaring up on him as Howard Johnson is the third baseman. Roger McDowell working 3 innings last night, and to my knowledge, he has not gone back-to-back days after working 3 innings at any time this year, and we'll check that out for you.
Well, it's final.
Phillies over the Cardinals, 6-3. Don Carmen coming in, shutting the door on the Cardinals. Winning pitcher David Rucker and the loser Matt Keogh.
And Moreland on the first pitch from McDowell extends his hitting streak to 8 straight games. And as he did in his final at-bat last night, singles to do so.
First ball hitting, the sinker on the inside part. And we'll see if working 3 innings last night is going to have an effect on Roger McDowell. Normally, if you're tired as a sinker ball pitcher, that can aid your performance. But with Roger coming off of a year of inactivity with that bad arm last year, you wouldn't think that that would be the case with him.
The Mets lead by 4, however, 5-1, as McDowell now faces Ron Cey, who is 0 for 2 plus a walk. And it's inside for ball 1.
First time Roger McDowell worked back-to-back days was back on the 1st and 2nd of July.
Right back at him, and it could be a double play, and is.
This ball hit like a shot. Watch the play by McDowell. He is shown to be some kind of athlete, and the easy play to first, nothing whatsoever Moreland can do. Boy, what a play by Roger McDowell. You can understand it if it's on his glove hand, but when you have to cross over, you don't have that much time.
You're only about 55 feet away. Less than that, maybe.
Once you let the ball go, that's right.
Here is the bull, Leon Durham, and he swings and misses for strike 1. The ball by Cey hit like a rocket, but turned into 2 outs. And now Jesse Orozco is up along with Wes Gardner in the New York bullpen, just in case. And a ground ball foul outside of first. So strike 2 to Durham. 2 out, nobody on. The Cardinals have already been beaten by Philadelphia 6-3. The Mets will be only 1 game back if Roger McDowell can get the door closed the final few inches. Out of play. Still 0-2.
Steve, I think Jesse Orozco's up just as a decoy. He's throwing very slowly out there.
Again, grounded foul.
And again, that is speculation. But Jesse Orozco, he is just playing a little soft toss with his catcher. And you don't know whether that's because the Mets have a 4-run lead.
Well, you'd have to think if they were planning on having him work, he would have been up earlier to be ready for Durham when he came up.
That's right. Well, in a close ball game, you certainly, that would be the case.
Did he hold up? Yes, he did. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That was a good sinker by McDowell. But Leon held out. 1-2.
Now Roscoe is sitting down in the bullpen. That is speculation on our part, we must say, to confirm that. But the fact that McDowell is in the ball game after working 3 innings last night makes one suspicious about the condition of Jesse's arm.
Grounded by Hernandez and a base hit into right field. Durham takes a big turn and McDowell in behind him, but Strawberry elects not to throw.
And now Roscoe is up throwing seriously. Now he's throwing the slider. So that's good news for Mets fans. Jesse has played soft toss Then he sat down, and then he rushed to get back up after that hit by Durham.
All three balls have been hit pretty hard off Roger McDowell. Of course, he was fortunate enough to make the good play on the line drive to turn it into a double play. Or obviously, Durham's base hit probably would have played it a run. But here is Jody Davis, who is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and flied to Strawberry in shallow right. 2 out in the 9th inning, a 5-1 New York lead with Durham at first not being held on. And it's way inside. It gets away from Carter. Durham will easily make it into second base. And then 1 ball, no strike count.
Gary simply couldn't move on this ball. And you see that he was in pain trying to go after that ball. And I think the most recent injury for Gary Carter was that pounding his left foot took on that full swing tonight.
And obviously, with that right knee, the one that's bothering him, anything you have to do going to your left like that is going to be not only difficult, but extremely painful.
Yeah, you got to push off that leg to go to your left.
Durham now at second on the wild pitch. And a 1-0 count to Jody Davis. Grounded foul. And that caught home plate umpire John Kibler. 1-1.
With a pitcher like McDowell, it can become dangerous behind the plate because he's got so much action on his pitches. When hitters do foul the ball off, that ball is really spinning. As it's going down, they usually hit the top half of it. And when they do foul it off, that ball with all of that gyroscope spin can be dangerous.
There's another good sinker for strike 2, 1-2. Crowd behind every pitch. And the Mets, who have a great many more road games than they do home games, are going to miss this down the stretch. A ground ball foul outside third. New York with only 6 more games remaining at home. The 3 this weekend with Pittsburgh and the final 3 of the year against Montreal. The remaining 10 games of the 16 games left in the season will all be on the road, and 8 of those 10 will be on artificial surface. For the Mets, who have a winning record in every other department, have a losing record on the fake grass. They are 19-21 on artificial turf. Strike 3. McDowell will not get credit for a save, and he did not overpower the Chicago Cubs, but with a 4-run lead, Davy Johnson electing to go to Roger McDowell, and he did the job.